Hello everybody, so I'm inspired to share with you on the topic of goals and goal setting. Right now I'm in the midst of a crowdfunding campaign that has a goal, and it's brought up some thoughts in my mind that I thought I'd share with you for the purpose of widening our scope of awareness with regards to goals and goal setting, with an intent to really question the underpinnings of the thought system that goal setting requires. And all goal setting requires the thought system of the ego. And so that means that all goal setting in some way, shape, or form will and is very probable to cause some kind of suffering. Even if we're not even aware of the suffering, it does. And the reason why is because goal setting in every form always involves a future outcome. And so it is an attempt to manipulate circumstances right now for a future outcome. And if there's investment in the future outcome and the future outcome is not achieved, then there's always disappointment. There's also the potential for suffering on the timeline. In other words, the time leading up to the outcome. We may do things we don't want to do, or we may be worrying or stressed out in order to meet our goal, or for the fear of not meeting our goal. So there's a lot of suffering involved in that. The other thing I would share that comes to mind is, although we don't call it goal setting, really that's predominant in how people live their lives. In other words, they're goal setting all the time, even though we don't say it's goal setting. But it could be something as simple as, these are the things on my list that I'm going to get at the grocery store tonight. That's a goal. Or, the goal of buying a house, or the goal of finding a loved one or a mate or a partner or lover, the goal of having children. So there are a lot of goals or goal setting that happens. And it may be conscious or it may not be. It may be unconscious goal setting. And all of that will inevitably show up in our experience as suffering when those outcomes don't happen the way we want them to happen. So all goal setting is ego-based. However, it doesn't make goal setting wrong. Goal setting does happen. So if it does happen, then all we can do is use it for the purpose of awakening, widening our scope of awareness, so that we can understand the thought system in play, so that we can find peace, the peace that lies with an understanding of what's happening within the mind. When I first started this crowdfunding campaign, many of the thoughts that came in mind was, am I ready to ask people for money? Looking at the thoughts, or watching the thoughts in my mind, the fears, can I ask for money? What does that mean? To ask for money? Am I willing? What will people think of me? So be able to look at those thoughts and really, is it true that people, don't want to contribute? Is it true that people would judge me? I don't know. And what would that mean, their judgments of me? Right now, it seems like I may not make my goal. Unless everybody right now watching this decides to donate a lot of money, which is totally welcome and I'm totally open to. But if I don't make my goal, what does that mean? That I'm a failure, that people don't love me, that people are not interested in my project. All these other thoughts that come up. And this is all surrounding goal setting. But the beauty of what I'm talking about and what we're doing when we go into goal setting or go into goals with awareness is that we get to look at these thoughts and we see the fallacy in the fear, but we can only see that when we've used this whole goal setting for the purpose of understanding what's happening within the mind. Otherwise, the goal setting will serve the purpose to separate. It will serve the purpose for fear. So in this experience of not knowing whether or not I'm going to meet the goal, let's say I'm not going to meet the goal, in the past I would probably double down, push my efforts forward, stress out about the fact that I won't make the goal. And what does it mean if I don't make it, as far as a financial question? Does that mean I'm not able to get my movie where I want it to be? Does it mean that I don't get to travel where I want to travel with the movie? I don't know. But as I look at those thoughts that come into mind, I'm reminded of really what's important. which is peace and joy, which is really what we want at the end of achieving a goal anyway. Why achieve the goal if it were anything else? We want to achieve the goal for an experience. That's why we set out for a goal. We on the other end of that is an experience. So there's a couple of things that I've just shared, and I'll just sum up what makes the goal, what can make the goal helpful, and what I'm finding helpful in the current goal setting process. The first thing is inspiration. Whatever goal that we're going after, it has to be inspired. With this movie documentary and this crowdfunding, because it's so inspiring, it doesn't matter where the goal ends up. Outcome is completely unimportant because the inspiration is right here. It's in this sharing that I'm having right now that's not dependent upon the outcome. So a goal has to be inspiring. The second point, which ties into the first one, is that the end is inherent in the means, in everything that we do. In other words, again, the experiences, the joy, the peace, the happiness that we want that comes from achieving our goal, but it really recognizing that the end is inherent right here, or the reminder that it's right here, and this is always the case when we're inspired, is helpful. It, again, releases the attachment to the outcome, because this is what it's all about in everything that we do. We want the joy in everything we do. And when we recognize that the end is actually inherent in the means, we recognize that there's really nothing ever to stress out about. Really nothing. And if we are stressed out about it, again, what are the fears? Because the stress is coming from a place of fear. Again, who am I without the outcome? What am I without the outcome? You know? And when we look at that, we recognize we are what we've always been, which is this definitionless experience of peace right now, the okayness right now. So inspiration, remembering that the end is inherent in the means, and then lastly, and I said it already, is letting go of the outcome. Really having no attachment to letting the outcome be whatever it's going to be, letting ourselves be surprised. So with this current campaign, I have a goal of raising $18,000. I don't know if I'll make it, but what I do know is I'll be surprised by wherever it ends up. Whether it ends up at 18, whether it ends up at 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, I don't know. But I'll be surprised, and I trust that no matter how it unfolds or what happens, it is perfect and it is part of the plan of healing.